Alright, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for Gungeon, a gold one tracer player. And this is on Samoa. It's just, at least you say you're maining tracer this season. Yeah, this is on Samoa, and you're having difficulty with the hog in particular. And you think it's because you're going in too early and you're getting out too late. Um, Actually, that might be part of the reason, but I think the primary issue is for this thing in particular is that you're playing main too much and making yourself too exposed too often, right? Um, for that problem in particular, right? So what that looks like is that if you're consistently main, right, which is basically like where the rest of your team is playing, for example, like on this point it'll be here, you're making yourself really easy to track, right? Because you're literally with the entire enemy team. If you think about it from like an enemy team's perspective, right? Because the replay VOD reviewer is having some issues right now, it'll, like crash you out of your account or whatever and send you back to the main menu. I'm not gonna speed forward as much as I normally do. You'll just have to imagine for a second that your entire team is here, right? Actually, you know what? I'll let it play it out just for this discussion, right? Um, Hopefully, yeah. Just I'll stop it here, right? They don't even have a hog right now, so it's not the end of the world, right? So imagine your entire team's here, not just your NSN. You play here, right? And they have a hog here, right? And he sees your entire team here, right? Um, well, you know, if you go up in ranks, he's not going to insta hook you. He's going to die to the NSN. But in principle, you're making yourself really easy to hit, right? Like if he wants to hit your Ana, he does this. But if he wants to hit you, like this is literally all he does, right? I'm imagining you're playing like right here, for example. But if you're not playing main, like if you're playing, for example, over here, right, imagine it's just your team versus a hog. If he wants to hit you, he has to like literally do this, right? And that's like much harder to do that than just to like barely move his mouse or just literally walk to the left a little, right? So just literally playing main will help you a ton. Secondly, playing not main will help you a ton in that regard. Um, secondly, playing better cover is going to help a lot too, right? If the hook is connecting to someone, I apologize. I'm a little sick, so I might have to intermittently pause just so I don't have a coughing fit. Yeah, so if the hook hits someone but it breaks, right? Um, it gets pretty much no value. Or if you're playing close enough to cover, you bait him to hook, it like literally doesn't even hit you to stun you at all. You get a value that way. So if you play here against him, right, and the hook just misses you or breaks, it's a lot different than playing out here and getting hooked in and dying. Like, right? Um, and coincidentally, I think these are probably your two big problems you're having on Tracer right now. You're positioning too close to your team, main, too often. You're eating a lot of random spam for it, and you're not taking away as much attention from the enemy team as you would otherwise just from playing on the off angle, right? Um, Secondly, your cover usage needs some works, right? This kind of goes in with your blinks, right? When you blink, you want to be blinking from cover to cover, right? Not just necessarily just from random spots to another. Not trying to necessarily imply that's what you always do. Um, like when you blink, for example, you could blink from like here to like up here, right? And constantly try to annoy people by blinking between like covers like this and constantly changing up your angle. So people have a really hard time focusing you between, you know, your movement and like all the cover you're playing around, right? It makes you really hard to hit. And opposed to like just, you know, just like extreme example, just randomly blinking like left to right on point like this. You know, obviously you can't do that. Like forward and back on point a bunch of times, it makes it really easy for you to hit. Like, yeah, that's like the most extreme obvious example of what not to do. Obviously not to say you did that, but like, yeah, just blinking cover to cover is how you want to do it, right? Just always be playing around covers on Tracer, especially because you're just so frail if you mess up that. And thirdly, I think your uptime needs to work. There are a lot of instances where you can be shooting and you're just like constantly looking to like make these odd rotations and look for I guess better targets when you could already be shooting. I do agree that you should be looking for the best target available, but sometimes you're just doing nothing for like 5 to 10 seconds in a team fight, right? Where your team's already engaged the enemy team, where you really need to be pumping out damage, right? If you have an angle and you can shoot, just shoot, right? Especially like in Gold 1, don't don't worry too much about target priority right now. Obviously, you don't want to just be pestering the tank all around, even though you do obviously get value from that. I just want you to focus on finding an angle, right, and just shooting right now, right, for the most part. This is fine here, right? Just skipped a little bit of the early team fight because I don't want to go back, right? Just to watch, just give you that example earlier. This is good, right? You kind of already got your value, right? This is pretty good here, right? Molly, I guess qualm with that is that you could double blink to get there a bit sooner, but that's okay. Just because you already saw the Ana there, backing up a little sooner, right? Again, don't want to go main, right? Everyone's gonna be looking main. Risky, but I think it's okay. I'd say it's risky because you don't have your recall. Generally, as Tracer, right, you want to use your recall to go aggressive. And when you don't have recall, you want to play passive, but that's okay there. I'd say it's okay because you kill their entire team, right? You get back to the fight pretty quickly. Yeah. It's not great if you die, obviously, but yeah, not the end of the world either. And of course, against the Sigma, right, he's like not likely to just, especially in Gold 1, he's not likely just to insta-kill you. Right, but this is kind of a problem here, right? These last few seconds, they're all coming back from respawn, right? And you should know that if you're just pressing tab, you can literally see them. And you see where you're positioned, you're literally like grouped with your team. Right now, what you could have been doing is using the fact that you killed the Reaper to open up the angle like over here, right? Because they're literally down 1 DPS. I mean, he just respawned now and just teleported in. But if you're like annoying them from this angle, right? You can basically be unkillable because you'd have your recall by this time and probably all your blinks, right? And if you distract anyone, like you just slow down their push into your team, right? If you sit main with your team, you just don't put out enough pressure to like this entire group of people to stop them from walking down, right? If they shield you off, you're basically doing nothing. But if you go over here, at the very least, you distract one player, right? And if they don't respond to you at all, they're giving you an opening to just run in and just like insta kill the Ana, for example, right? If you just like one clipper, right? Obviously, you have to wait for them to split up to be able to do that, right? But something threat just from being at a different angle from your team, right? And also, being at a different angle from your team stops a Genji from getting the jump on you like this, right? I'm spending a lot of time on this specific example. I don't think I'll pause this much in the future. Just to highlight how important this is, right? If you're here, the Genji can't do this and get the jump on you because you can quite literally see their entire team if you just literally stand here and do nothing, right? Obviously, you want to be shooting as you're standing here, right? And trying to distract people and slow them down from walking in, right? But the Genji will never be able to take this position to get the jump on you because you'll be able to see him and not let him, like, surprise you at all, right? That's just how important controlling the off angle is, right? Especially on Tracer, right? No reason to rotate main. I guess you're trying to look to get healed or something, right? There's a mega top right. I know you get it in a few seconds here, but you can just hit I need healing, right? And just stop them from flooding in right side, right? To the best of your ability. Nice. Yep, it's fine. It's okay to recall there. You don't have to spam again. It's fine, right? I guess you're getting hit by a Moira orb or something. A little unfortunate. That's fine, right, though? I definitely wouldn't be committing on this Moira, just because you're so low. If you're healthier, even without recall, I'd go for it. But you can just literally sit where you are and just shoot the Sig, right? You just don't want to get insta-killed right now. This is okay, right? Your entire team is taking all the pressure. And you see, like, you were really low, and it's definitely risky, right? Better players probably can just spam the Sang when insta-killed you. But you see, just by literally not playing with your team, do you see how much value you got, right? You put in a ton of work by like baiting these people to come in, getting a ton of damage on them, and just like coming in for the cleanup for free, right? Even if your team didn't kill them, you would just want to kill them anyways, right? And you literally did not get shot a single time because you were not playing with your team, right? Unfortunate, right? It happens sometimes. Right? It's okay just to wait, right? It's fine. If you're gonna go for a play like this, you have to be a little faster, right? You hesitate a bit What you should be doing is literally just triple blinking immediately to the Ana, just so she has the minimum amount of time to react. That's okay though, right? It's still salvageable. Once you miss the pulse, you should immediately recall, because you don't want to get chased, right? The more you linger out in the open, kind of the further your recall is going to put you into open space, right? If you immediately recall, you come back here, and you can just start blinking back to your team. But when you recall now, you're going to be put like right here, and you're just going to get chased and instantly die because you have no cover, and of course, no blinks. You see how you like hesitate and waste time in the open, and get killed for it, right? But if you just instantly kind of like pulse and miss, it's okay, right? She's with her Moira, she's not gonna die there. But at the very least, like you can see your distraction still killed their tank, right? You still got value out of that, right? That's like the power of just committing from the off angle, right? Obviously indirectly killed the tank, right? They walked in and had no idea that their supports and DPS were completely distracted by you. Here, probably shouldn't take. Actually, no, this is okay. You just need to stall for point progress. Right. Obviously, you could have mechanically played that a bit better. Whatever. I think dying point there is okay just for the extra cap. You just have to win like one fight to win the game or win this round. So.
Let's try that one more time.
You're right. Random spam, but if you just don't walk with your team, a lot of it's avoidable. Here, this is a position. You see this guy deflect, right? Use your blinks to go from cover to cover. This is a really good example of doing it. If you blink here, right, you can immediately blink here, and this does two things. One, the Genji can't deflect two angles at once, and it completely denies these people the ability to spam you, right? You see right now, if they peek, they can see you from here, right? And it opens up you up to random spam. Like, there's a chance this Junkrat just randomly spams you. And maybe you get hit by like a Moira orb or like an Ana dart or something. Or your team accidentally shoots a Genji and you just explode. But if you literally just instantly blink over here, right? Look how much safer you are, right? Like, literally no one can see you except this Genji, right? Like, everything has to go wrong for you to die in this position. Like, there's like no chance it realistically happens, right? You want to be using your blinks to do stuff like that. But good kill regardless, right? Because he's overextended. Here, I like that you're not going in main with your team, right? I think you have a bad habit of setting up with your team more so than necessarily always staying with your team, right? But like you already killed their Genji, right? So that means somewhere on the map's open, and you're kind of like this is kind of like going into your downtime issue. You don't have that much issue with downtime on this first map. It gets worse as the game goes on, though, right? So this is kind of why you're taking like these unnecessarily long flanks when you could have immediately just gone in the room on the right or something. And right, I'll show you what I mean exactly by that. If you go through like this way here, right? When you see your dude ults, you just go in this way. Blink once, right? You're here, and you can already shoot them, right? A lot quicker, and you still have more blinks. And if you really want to, because you have recall, you can risk it by going main, because he may have trapped people, right? You didn't see, obviously. A lot riskier, but you do have recall. I wouldn't recommend that way, but that is an instance where it's possible. Here, big cover usage thing, right? There's no reason you should try to get out of the habit of trying to like follow Moira around. If you just blink here, right, and just shot her, right, you can see like how much difference cover makes. She's not gonna miss you, right? No matter what, you might as well just stand still against Moira. If her team wants to help the Moira, and you're standing here, right, all they can do is heal the Moira, right? But if you keep following her in the open, again, see how much more exposed you are. If they just try to heal the Moira and miss, you might just die for it. Or you know, the Moira can just kill you and the Hog can shoot you too. Right? But if you stand here, at the worst case, right, you can reactively recall against Moira every time, right? Because she does really low DPS. And I will say, because you make that like small mistake of overextending against the Moira, right, you get forced into recalling because they're all looking at you. But if you stayed here, right, worst comes to worst, you're losing against the Moira. You recall and you're like right here, and you just literally walk here and you're perfectly safe. Or you blink out here and you're again perfectly safe, right? Just playing your life. Not the end of the world. You get like 2 picks that fight, so a lot of distraction value. See, you let your team walk in, so could have played that a bit better, like cooldown mechanically wise, coverage wise, but still getting good value there. Because your positioning is pretty good overall. You see, I think your first round, obviously you made like some pretty big mistakes, but I think it was pretty solid overall. Normally I just skip through this. I don't want to risk it with the replay here being a bit buggy right now. Yeah, I just don't want to crash. It's a pretty small map, so like the issue is you're not getting punished for your excessively long rotations as much as you were, or as much as you're going to be on this map, right? It's not like, uh, what am I trying to say? Yeah, you're not getting punished downtime wise either, right? See, right, like, it looks like you're thinking about going right really early on right here, which I think is maybe not necessarily like the right call per se, but it's a much better call than what you end up doing, right? Tracers are really independent, right? The Mega here to play around with, you have a Mega in there to play around with. You can fight for the control in this angle here, right, as your team walks main. Or alternatively, you can go left, right? You can even roll out with your team and like blink up this way. I think you end up doing that, right? But you might as well just go far right to begin with, if you're already going to commit to it, right?
I see the enemy.
Okay, here, no, not ideal. You know, you don't want to be this close to your tank, right? You see, like this hog isn't even shooting you. He's probably shooting your tank. You just happen to walk into it, right? You're just not respecting the cover, right? If you just stay here, right? See where they are, shoot them a bit, right? You blink over here, right? Obviously now they have a cast. You don't want to do that, right? Just in general, that's something you can do, right? Um, but if you're already set up at this angle, right? Like you can see here, this is much safer. And you have a much better scouting opportunities if you're here to begin with, right? You just rotated far right to begin with, right? Okay, right. Grabbing the Mega's okay. I blink in a little sooner. Just get back to the fight faster. Here, you see, you already had an opportunity to do damage from this angle. I think this round's when it starts getting really bad. There's no reason to like go in because I haven't used any cooldowns yet, right? When you go this far in, you see you're making yourself really vulnerable because the Genji you're now in dash range and you're making yourself closer and easier to hit for the hog. Um, right, you can just farm the hog or the Genji from this distance, and if they start looking at you, no problem. Literally just do this and you're safe. But now you see you're too close. Um, you force out more blinks than necessary. You still force out cooldowns. Again, you know, you could have played cover a bit better. You played cover a bit better there. I think a little dangerous to ever blink straight into a hog, even when he doesn't have hook. And I will say, because you committed those blinks kind of at an awkward time, right? They weren't really super killable and you got super close. You're continuously forcing yourself to use blinks just to get away from them. And now look how far away you are, right? Your only option of helping your team is going main, which is less than ideal. Because you're just too far away and you use too many blinks right now. You see, like your team's fighting and you weren't actively shooting for like a good 5 seconds there, right? In this position, oh god. Okay, that's the last time I did. I should not have done that. Um, yeah. Anyways, in that position, you probably should have just stayed main and kept shooting the hog to help your hazard run away.
Take a redo.
I should have recalled sooner against that cast. You don't get naded. I'm pretty sure he's still on nade. See, I think you did okay at the beginning of the fight. You just didn't show enough presence for the rest of that fight, right? Kind of let your team get run over.
As they say, try again.
I think it's okay not to stagger yourself though. Right? Nothing wrong. Then you see your team has already made contact with the enemy team, right? When they're all fighting here, you don't necessarily need to go all the way right. You know, obviously, like I said, you don't want to literally stand here. What you can do instead, come here, right? Blink over here, and now you're in an off angle, right? You can fight this Moira away from like complete safety from standing here, right? Because if the rest of the team wants to peek you, look what they have to do, right? Imagine this is a few seconds ago. Unfortunately, I'm not going to rewind. Um, again, due to the issues with the thing, right? If they want to peek you, look what they have to do, right? They have to do this, which completely lets the like literally at least 3 other players just blow them up, right? So you get to challenge this Moira for free, and like the difference now, for why this is in your favor compared to the Moiras, is that you can shoot the Moira from like where you're relatively safe, right? It's really risky for them to peek. But this Moira now has to worry about multiple angles, right? She has to worry about the hazard. She has to worry about the Ana that peeks this side of the car, and she has to worry about you from behind her, for example, right? So she's like really unfavored to win this fight because she's no help, um, right? And you have like all the help in the world, right? And so you're like completely extended now, isolated because you went on this flank and they just happen to
Much
rotate
better.
that time, right? Again, you could already be shooting. When you don't have pulse, there's really no reason um, to be this sneaky, right? I guess if you know they've used like fade or something, you want to be this sneaky to try to get a one clip or something, but this isn't the situation for that, right? Your team's made how do you say it? Engage the enemy team to start shooting like people that you can get value on, right? Going through this cast is really risky, right? You already had opportunities to shoot people from where you're standing on point, right? Kind of unfortunate your guy dies there, right? Uh, yeah, nice shots in the carry, but like this is a really risky play. Kind of no reason, right? And I will say there, right? If you just stayed on the left, shot the Moira, right? Forced her fade and pulsed her afterwards, right? Obviously your Genji dies or kills the Moira anyways, but or shot the you could have even shot the Genji, forced out the flex, stuck him, right? You had a lot of options there. Now you just kind of like go in, get stressed because you're in the middle, like the enemy team, right? Which is not where you want to be. Um, and like panic ult the hog. You don't want to ult the hog if he has a lot of breather, right? He takes like no damage from it, so because you go through the enemy team, right? It forces out your recall really early. Again, I think you probably know what I'm gonna say. Don't walk main like ever. Uh, yeah, that was completely avoidable, right? If you played that a bit safer and just literally stayed right here, waiting for them to recontest, right? Because you know both your supports are alive. You could have literally just waited right here, done nothing, and shot them as they peek your supports, right? Obviously, you wouldn't really do that. You'd be like dancing around the cover here, trying to shoot them from this angle, rotate to this angle, try to shoot them here, maybe blink in here, be unpredictable. But you could literally do that if you really wanted to, right?
Nanoboost
One more
administered.
time.
I say that fundamentally, obviously. Like I said, like don't literally stand still because you make yourself really easy to kill.
友人の剣をくれ My ultimate is ready. My blade is ready. My spirit burns.
Here, you should blink, be a little faster, right? You see Hog uses his hook, you kind of have to like start going immediately. Just blink to his angle sooner. As you see, you're like walking with him and like mirroring their movement, right? The good thing about Tracer is she's faster than like everyone with blink. So the difference between you blinking here and already being on this angle and you just walking is that instead of the Hog being here, he's going to be here, right? And you'll be here and being able to blow him up when he's not close, right? That's the difference, right? When you have blinks, try to use them more, right? No reason to specifically 3 blinks this entire game. Or I should say the entire fight. Here, there are probably better targets in this Hog, right? He's still getting value by forcing him away, but there are probably more killable targets in the Hog, right? Okay, it's fine. You see, if you didn't burn your recall chasing the Hog, maybe you could have stuck like the Mercy or something, right? If you're just looking at them to begin with, um, or stuck the cast or something to turn the fight, right? Again, not really good value to sleeping Hog. Probably could have recalled there. That's okay. Okay. Unfortunate. Like I said, normally I'd just skip through this. I don't want to risk it though. But I'm sure you can see how much like um chaotic that round was, and it's not because they had the hog. It's because like you're not, you're kind of like failing more positional wise, cover usage wise, and like uptime wise than you were in the first round, right? I think it's probably because that map's a bit bigger and you're just like too scared to use your blinks sometimes, right? If you have 3 blinks, I'd say like 99% of the time, feel free to use at least one to reposition yourself in the middle of fights, right? When you gotta go, the strength of Tracer is that she can be places faster than like almost anyone else in the cast, right?
It all comes down to this.
Don't let people rotate with you. Be faster rotating than they are, right? I think this is okay. I'm not like the biggest fan of playing here with Tracer. I think playing, whatever. I'm not gonna say too much about it. I do like that you're not stacking the team. Again, you had opportunities to shoot people here. Your team is fighting, right? You see, like, your Genji's already engaged with their cast, your Zen's flinging orbs at them, your Hazard's shooting, right? This was a perfectly good opportunity to shoot them, right? You're not going to kill anyone instantly anyways, but the problem is when you take these long rotations, let's say, like, your Zen, you're just losing a lot of opportunities, right? If you literally just stand here and pester them, there's a chance to get distracted by you, you know, get hit by your Zen's Discord or Zen's orbs or whatever and go, like, to, like, 25 health or something. And you just blink in, gun them down, and then just blink out, and you're just like in a really good spot because you're up one player, right? But when you make these rotations, you have no clue what kind of opportunities your team is opening for you, right? A lot of downtime here. You still have not shot a single time, right? I will say again, cover usage wise, like if this hog turned on you, you just would have gotten insta killed, right? There's no difference between you standing here and standing here, except that you're just making yourself way easier to shoot by standing out here, right? You do literally the same exact damage at that range, right? And your aim is like not a problem, so. Okay, nice kill. See, right? Aim is not a problem. Probably should have recalled when the hog was looking at you, right? That's okay. I still think you got good value that fight, which I'm not really concerned about you dying there for. But I'm sure you can see it could have been a lot better, right?
Let's try that one more time.
This will cut the pace.
Be careful about doing this with no blinks, right? Really risky, right? If they just look at you, you have no way of getting away without burning your recall, which means you can't like capitalize on the fact that they're just picking off your entire team right now, right? Your team honestly should not be taking a fight in this little room. But that's okay, right? Nothing you can really do about that. Except not play into it yourself, right? Again, definitely a little chaotic, right? Big mistake is that you just burnt all your blinks and get your recall, of course, right? Again, you're trying to fight with your team, but like,
Try again.
yeah, it's alright. Once you lost two, you should have probably just not gone in the first place. That's okay. I'm following you too much for that one, right? It's pretty good. No reason to recall. You're perfectly safe behind cover there, right? He wasn't peeking you. You could have blinked. I think there's a pack on the floor here or something. Yeah, there's a mini right there. You could have just blinked off the high ground here and just dropped right here and picked up the mini, for example, right? No reason to recall. It's a tough call to make. I understand why you did it, but now you can't commit like on anything, so kind of unfortunate. I think this is okay, right?
Back we go.
When you have recall, right, don't go in. You definitely played a lot safer there. When I mean play safer, just literally blink back here, make it really hard for the, or, yeah, make it really hard for the hog and Genji to chase you. Right, just blinking back in is obviously not the play. I won't dwell on that one too much, right? I'm not really too upset that you're taking a fight down there.
Back again.
Probably not
Are you
ideal, but
listening?
that's okay. At least you're doing something
I
now with your
am
team, right? Or
effervescent.
not stacking your team, I should say. Unfortunate. Okay, it happens, right? I think Weaver's the right target to try to stick there.
My ultimate is ready.
Mess up your blinks are a little bit there, right? Again, cover usage wise, kind of get bailed out by this thing. I'm not gonna rewind again, right? But that entire fight, you're just kind of in the middle point. If you're just playing here, right, you wouldn't eat random spam. You'd be a lot harder to hit, right? Because if you start getting focused, just blink here, and you just literally step aside. You're behind cover, right? Give me a blink here, right? You have a lot of options. But when you're standing here, you're just gonna eat a ton of random spam, right? Once you miss the blink or the whatever pulse in the Weaver, um, just blink away, right? Just don't stay in the open and try to farm them, because you kind of lost your whatever burst to actually be able to consistently kill them. Obviously, I think it's okay to die point there. Could have played that a bit mechanically better, but that's not the end of the world, right?
Not in my vocabulary.
Okay, unfortunate, right? I think it's okay to recall there. Don't want to risk that. Again, right? Focus more so on blinking cover to cover. It's really risky to just blink in the open, right? Because everyone can see you, and you see like now you're in the middle of their team, right? If you just kept blinking, for example, this way, and blinked here, look how much safer you are now, right? Obviously, you can't just teleport from here, but you can like blink here, walk over here. You have cover here. If the cat starts chasing you, no problem. You just blink this way. Now you're behind cover, and you can keep blinking this way, keep harassing the back line, right? You have a lot of options here, but you're just kind of like blinking too fast into the open. Get yourself too exposed, right? It's kind of like screwing over your uptime sometimes. I think this is fine, right? I mean, not ideal to trade 1v1 with enemy DPS, but now you have the entire team back. One thing you should have done the moment their Kiriko teleported in, just run away. You're not gonna win against a pocketed DPS. No, don't take that ego duel. You would have saved the recall again.
Focus our attack on the objective.
I think it's okay.
Attack.
You can be farming the hog right now. They don't have like great mobility on their team, right? Just farm the hog for ult. Literally just stand here. You can stand still if you really want to. Just shoot the hog. Right, you can even walk up to here if you really want to. You have good cover with this thing. Obviously it exposes you to these people, right? But like yeah, just farm the hog right here. Just get your ult. Like they know you're here and they're not easily able to kill you, right? Here again, like this is a cover usage thing. You see you blinked in here to fight the tracer, but imagine instead, what if you blinked over here and fought the tracer from the single, right? If the hog starts looking at you, this is literally what you do, and he can't do anything to you anymore. And chances are you're not gonna one clip the Curie anyways, right? She knew you're to the side, so it's not like you're catching her by like massive surprise, right? So something to consider.
Can't back up again. Outnumbered. Careful.
I leave you in my way.
Yeah, unfortunately nothing you can really do in this position.
Who's on fire?
Yeah, good hack still killing the Genji. Probably shouldn't have been sticking the hog there again. I mean, maybe there's a small chance you could turn this fight some way, somehow. Do your best to stick some of this at the hog in general.
Objective is under attack.
Yeah, probably not even be able to touch. Okay, so, yep. Again, I think I'll reiterate. I think your primary issue right now is your positioning needs some work, right? You're stacking with your team too much. Just a little too much. When really, I should say you're defaulting with your team too much. Really, what you want to be doing is controlling these angles, right? Um, I'm obviously going to give you credit, right? You did still do it quite a bit, right? But you're not doing it enough. not nearly as much as you can get away with, right? Control these angles, so at the very least, the enemy team can't use them to their own advantage, right? Um, right? I'm sure you can see in this replay, it gives you a lot of advantages, right? You can just sneak in for free so often, right? And just get so many picks just because you're not with your team. I should say not stacked with your team, right? Just opening up another angle of pressure is very valuable, right? I'm sure you can see the fights that you like kind of carried. You just literally like if your team is like here, you literally just would set up like on this angle over here and just like destroy everyone, right? Secondly, again, your cover usage needs some work, right? Especially when you blink around, you should be thinking about blinking cover to cover, unless you're going for like a one clip or like a pulse, right? In those scenarios, you have to be like really ready to recall out the moment it like doesn't work in your favor. But more consistently, you want to be blinking between cover to cover, so you're really hard to hit, right? As Tracer, you get a ton of value, not necessarily by getting kills, but by forcing out a ton of cooldowns and being like impossible to kill, right? And thirdly, I think your uptime needs some work, right? You're going for these like really long flanks sometimes, and you're not shooting when you have opportunities to shoot, right? I pointed out a few examples where like you're already in position to start dumping out damage, and you're just going for like these flanks, and just hoping your team doesn't get run over in the meantime, right? Sometimes it does work, and it opens up like these really good, like opportunities for you to kill the enemy team, right? Um, that's because you're like taking good angles, right? But other times, it doesn't work and your team gets run over because you're taking too long, right? When the fight's already commenced, right? And that's kind of the difference. Okay, I hope this helps.